Hey guys, welcome to Isaiah's Reviews, and today we'll be reviewing a sous vide. That is, I think, some kind of French cooking contraption, but it's used in a lot of restaurants, and I'll get to all the reasons why it is, but now it's making its way to residential, and people are going nuts over these things. So I got a chance to cook with one. This was sent to me for review, so let's get into that. This is model number SV-8. 001. If you want to buy the exact one I have, the link will be down in the YouTube description. And here's the box it comes in. It's fairly large. This is a 1,000-watt cooking machine. So it comes in a big box. It's a big size in itself. But yeah, this is the box it comes in. You get a manual and a recipe book. The recipe book is from 2box.com, and it actually has 2box on the box itself too. So apparently that might be the brand as well. I don't really know what brand to call it by, but like I said, we know the model number. Now there is some things to know before going into it, but it's really super easy and basic, and we'll get right to it. So here is the sous vide. This is a beast. Some people say sous vide, and they refuse to say the DE, but I looked up the translation. It's sous vide, like that. So it kind of hits the D a little bit. So if you kind of want to know how to pronounce it, I guess it's two ways to do it. But this is a 1,000-watt, 120 volt, 60 hertz plug and play machine, and it's like a 3-foot cord on this thing. But the cool thing is you don't really have to cook this thing setting on an eye on the stove. You can do it on a cutting board or a cork board or whatever. But basically what you do is you get a big old pot, and you fill it up with water, and then you stick this guy inside of it, and it has a min and max line down here, and you never want to get this below the min. I think it'll automatically shut off if it does that. You don't want to get it past the max, and you don't want the base to touch the bottom of the pot. So you kind of fill it up beyond what the length of this will be, and then the edge of the pot itself has a lip on it, and it'll go inside these teeth, because if you just put it on, attach it to the side of the pot, it will drift kind of down a little bit. So basically I had to put it on the lip of the pot itself in those teeth, and the silicone was able to hold it perfectly up into position. And you have a dial wheel right here, and you got a touch sensitive power and set. So let's get into what this thing is for, okay? So basically it's for cooking meats, seafoods, and all kinds of stuff, but you can do it in bulk. So you can get a huge pot if you wanted to, and we'll use steak as an example. So you can get this huge pot, you can pack steak in there, and I'll show you how to pack steak here in a minute, but you pack steak in there, you say you're gonna do a party the next day, well, you just put your 1.5 inch boneless ribeyes or whatever in there, and you can do as many as you want to fill up the pot, and then you pour in the water, and normally I just use hot tap water. It doesn't matter, and then you'll preheat this to whatever temperature. If you want, I know this, if you want rare, it'll be 130 degrees. I like mine medium-ish, medium to rare, medium rare, somewhere in medium. So I did 132 degrees, and you just preheat it to that, and you can see the temperature working its way up. But you got two kind of options on the left and right, or three options. You've got a temperature at the top, so 132 degrees for me. And then you have on the bottom left a delay timer. So when it will actually start, so you can kind of set this and go out on the town, set it for 2 hours, and then it's going to start its cooking process in 2 hours. On the lower right is how long you want it to cook for, and then that's it. If you want to start cooking right away, you just don't set anything on the lower left of it, and it'll fire right up after it's preheated. For the rare, for 1.5 inch thick steaks, they recommended like 2.5 hours is what I read online. There's millions of recipes online, so if you don't get anything you want out of this booklet, you can access it online by the droves. I did 3 hours at 132 degrees, and then so what you do is you season up your meat. So I just did salt and pepper mix, and then I did an oil base in there. Sometimes they got some leafy greens that you can squeeze and put in there for the oil, like rosemary and thyme. I just did basically cooking oil, olive oil, and then I poured a little bit of olive oil over it, so I have it seasoned in olive oil, and I put it in a freezer bag. It's important to use a freezer Ziploc bag if you wanted to, but a freezer bag, because it's like BPA free and it can handle just the temperatures and stuff and not downgrade, degrade, or put a hole in it or melt or some kind of stupid stuff, but it can hold its own inside that bath. And then I just use clips. You can use paper clips, clothesline clips, wooden clips, whatever you want. And there's a trick. You can see people online that try to squeeze all the air out of the Ziploc bag, then zip it. I found a method online that seemed to work. You put it in an oversized freezer bag, each steak. You leave it actually open, and then you lower it down in that bath where the steak is completely submerged, and then you clip the top of the bag. And with it open, the weight of the steak itself mixed with the water, it will close itself around the steak and force all the air away from the steak and sit there perfectly with no air around it. So it works good. That's a simple, easy way to do it, and it worked for me. So you cook this thing at 132 degrees for 3 hours, and it gets it completely, all the meat through and through that temperature. So you can't mess it up. If you know the temperature to set it and you know how long to set it for, like how big the piece of meat is that you're cooking is going to determine how long you cook it for to make sure it's a solid temp throughout, then you've got a perfectly cooked steak. And all you have to do after 3 hours, you can either put it back in the refrigerator if you're going to cook it the next day or finish it off the next day, or you take it, go to your grill, you got to fire it up, you got to get it super hot, or you can do a cast iron skillet on the stove, but get it about 500 or 600 degrees. Then you just sear 20-30 seconds per side, 4 sides, top, bottom, left, right. You sear it and then you serve it, and that's it. Perfectly cooked steak, exact perfect quality every single time. And that's the catch. I run into a problem where I get so inconsistent with my cooking. Sometimes it's like perfect. My wife looks at me, it's the best thing you've ever cooked. Do it like this every time. I do it again, something was off somewhere in the process on the grill because it didn't work itself out the same way it did before. This method with the sous vide, it's perfect every single time, and you can't overdo it. You can't make a mistake as long as you get the correct temperature and time right. That's it. You can't overdo it because it's only going to maintain a certain temperature. It's vacuum sealed in its own juices. You pull it out and you sear it, and that is it. And that is exactly what I did. And the 1.5-inch ribeyes that I cooked was phenomenal. We ended up cutting one in half and eating that one day, and then I ate the next one the other day. So, I mean, it's great for big old parties. Get yourself a huge tub, stick this thing in here, 1,000 watts. It will circulate that same temperature. The water in there will be completely the same temperature, circulating all the time. Just make sure you don't dip below your min and you don't stick it in past your max. It's really a great tool. I'm going to use it probably for the rest of my life. It's that easy. It's that awesome to perfect steak. And really, you just set it up and you don't forget it. You can get some with Bluetooth or Wi-Fi and pay that extra charge if you want to, but really the delay timer, and you just set it on your watch when it's going to be done. If you're going to run to the store, set a delay timer for 3 hours and then let it cook for 3 hours. You got 6 hours. In a regular cool tap water bath, actually let it set for 5, put a delay timer of 5 hours on this thing, and then cook for 3, come home, take it out, sear it, and then boom, you can eat. But experiment, look at different recipes online. I highly suggest to do that. You can really cook anything and everything in this thing, and it'd be perfection every single time. So this is one of these items that you can stick in your drawer that's small, that can do anything. So I highly recommend that you at least purchase one and check it out. You don't know what you're missing, because if you're as inconsistent as I am with meats and stuff, this will solve the inconsistency issue. Trust me. So make sure to explode on that subscribe button and ding that bell so you get notified on the next product review that I'll be doing. Maybe another kitchen appliance, maybe another electronic. Could be a really super nice ladder coming up. I'm going to go with that last one. See ya.